This is your place for all things Detroit Red Wings and all things Chicago Blackhawks. With your hosts, Jordan Linscott, David Barnhouse, Nick LePage, and Tim Stompanato. This is the Stick Blade Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Stock Blade Podcast. It is your place for all things stocks, all things money, all things cash, all things green. You know what's really green right now? GameStop stock, because if you had $300 or $400 in it a couple weeks ago, congratulations, you just paid for your house. Did you own AMC either? Okay, cool. Congratulations, you just had your house paid for.
Wait, AMC? I invested all my money in Blockbuster. Crap.
I heard they're skyrocketing right now.
Okay. Phew.
Listen,
gotta invest, you gotta buy.
I do want to point out right now that as of close today, AMC Entertainment Holdings Inc. is $13.3 per share. Now is the time you can still get on in at the ground floor, and we're gonna hold the line, and we're gonna send those diamond hands into the sky, baby. We're going to the moon.
Strap it to the moon, baby. Rocket ships.
Yeah, boys.
Nick, what about you?
I'm still holding into hotel companies. I bought way back, of course, like the day before coronavirus hit. So
Smart.
I'm just, yeah. So, I got it while it's high, and now it's dead low. So I'm just going to hold the line.
I love it. You're going the
room
golf
service.
strategy.
Room
Yeah.
service, baby. Room service.
Yeah, I mean, I'm living the dream, and, just going to hold the line. And, this is what we're here to – wait, Jordan, what are we talking about?
This
Yeah,
feels
you know
odd.
what? The only line I'm holding is the middle of that hockey line, the puck line. We're gonna hold that puck line.
And speaking
blue
of
line?
things that are not rising, the Detroit Red Wings and the Chicago Blackhawks are not rising in the standings.
I've been rising for the Blackhawks.
God dang, spitting that fire.
Welcome to the Stick Blade Podcast, everybody. This is a Chicago Blackhawks and a Detroit Red Wings podcast. With the craziness that is the American stock market, you got to have fun looking at this situation at this point. Normally we start the show talking about football, but this is something else. You're not going to see this again, I don't think, ever.
Matthew Stafford's a Ram. That's some good news.
The whole world is upside down.
For your host tonight, Jordan Linscott, and for my co-hosts, Tim Stompanato, David Barnhouse, and Nick LePage, welcome to the show, everybody. The world is a mess.
It's good to be back, guys. I'm glad we're getting into this routine of one episode a week. We're back on a normal schedule with the hockey
Is California on fire again? I mean, it's not
Uh,
normal if it's not on fire.
Boy, I sure hope not. They could use a week off. Maybe there's snow.
Maybe snow.
Can't have fires with snow.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
True.
that would be great. But yeah, good to be back. We're back on schedule, one episode a week, and
Well,
we finally
wait,
got a
no.
routine, boys.
They are on fire because they just got the greatest quarterback of all time, Matthew Stafford, in Los
There
Angeles.
he is. There's
So,
the payoff for that lead up.
But yeah, I mean, the hockey schedule's back for us. We're back to the regular schedule for the episodes of this podcast. It's one a week now. It's not this off season. We record and we have content. Hockey's back in full swing, and I kind of joked about it at the start of this episode, but the Hawks and the Wings are not on the up and up yet. The Hawks, I think, on the better up and up than the Wings are, but again,
Doing our
we'll talk
best.
about that later. Looking at tonight's schedule, we're going to be having our flashback and our flash forward. And those segments, we talk about the week that was and the week that's going to be for the Chicago Blackhawks and the Detroit Red Wings moving forward. We're going to touch on a couple of pieces of not necessarily news, but I just sort of want to call them observations of play that we've seen, players, development, stuff like that. We do this every week, but we're going to kind of talk about that this week because, again, we're like 3 weeks into the season now. You're really starting to get an idea of what these rosters probably are looking at. Realistically, the preseason weeks, as David called them, they're over. The first 2 weeks are done. It's in the books. Teams have had time to get chemistry, to put systems in place. Teams are kind of establishing, what their identities are right now in this year of the NHL. And then we have a little bit of a discussion to have that actually pertains to the Hawks and the Wings, the picking up of Madison Bowey by the Chicago Blackhawks. And then as the song in the Grinch goes, something I wouldn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole, the Tony DeAngelo that we've all been reading about in the news.
Which he'll be touched upon from our mailbag this week because we got some more mail.
Mm-hmm. And really, that's kind of it for the show that we have laid out. So, guys, let's go ahead and just jump right into this one. Let's go ahead and just start off with the Blackhawks because I think that you guys had an overall better week for us to talk about. I think I want to start the positive notes for the podcast early rather than later. On the 26th, you guys played against Nashville. It was a 3-2 overtime loss. On the 27th, you played them again. It was a 2-1 shootout loss. On the 29th, you played to Columbus in a 2-1 loss. And then on the 31st, you had a 3-1 win over Columbus. So basically, you've got a win, 3 losses, but all 3 of the losses were basically 1-goal games. Fantastic week by the Hawks. If you're ever in a rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, do you want to hit it up and I'll
Yeah, I'll start with the first loss against Nashville. That was the Subban game. Subban finally got a start. We'll get into Kevin Lankinen in a little bit, but with Subban, he looked great. I mean, the only thing that really say about Subban is he's not necessarily I think he's the more athletic of the two, but he's not what we call in great goalie, like he's making these more desperation saves. But besides that, like that's the only thing I could pick out from that, because Kevin Lankinen compared to Subban, they're 2 different types of goalies. Subban will make those diving saves, and I thought he had a great game. A couple fluky ones, maybe I'm trying to remember Nashville's exact goals, but along with that, I mean, so the Hawks lost 3-2 in overtime. I think the biggest thing that came out of that game though was the miscommunication between Patrick Kane and Dylan Strome in overtime.
Yeah, that was a rough look.
Yeah. I mean, just it was one of those situations where Strome could have stopped and like switched with Kane. He thought Kane was going to switch, or Kane was going to follow Roman Josi, I believe, who drove the net. So not exactly what I like to see between those two.
I feel like that miscommunication is a piece of that bigger concern that we've still got with the fact that this is a rebuilding team, but it's also, they're learning that identity that we've been talking about, and they're still figuring out. They've been a lot tighter on communicating and understanding everyone's position, but we're still honing that. We're still figuring out that chemistry, even with guys like Strome and Kane who've been playing together for a while. There's a mindset now, they haven't had a lot of 3-on-3 overtime play together.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see those lapses more and more. It's like Connor Murphy said the other game where, hey, we're falling apart around the net because there's miscues and we're not talking right, or we're not in the position. I thought that the overtime, the first game compared to the overtime, the second game, were night and day. I thought that we played a lot tighter in that second overtime. Honestly, I think that comparing the first Predators game to the second Predators game is, again, night and day. Subban really did do his job and kept us in that first Predators game, that whole game. I think that's the one that Colin even said afterwards, that he was a little frustrated with the way everybody played, and we could have walked out of that one with a win. We should have.
Yeah, I mean, we were spending a lot of time in our own zone. I think that's going to be we said it before the season started, that's going to be the biggest issue. We're not going to really possess the puck that much. A few more notes I had in that game, though. I felt like the defense just was getting in front of every shot. There was so many block shots. I mean, there was so many shot attempts by Nashville, but our defense was just blocking everything, and they were just laying their body on the line. And, the power play kind of continued to surge that game. And then one other thing was just, I think that was kind of Zadorov and Connor Murphy. I think that was their first game paired together, and it wasn't great.
It wasn't what I was hoping for with that shutdown pairing.
Yeah.
I will say, I think that the defense is in a better place than I've seen it the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I think this is the most consistent and stable we've had our defense. I'm a big Zadorov fan. I like him a lot. I love the hitting that he brings, that energy. I love that shutdown mindset. It does concern me sometimes that it almost looks like he has moments where he forgets how to skate. and it's not. He just sort of forgets where he is and ends up out of position, or he trips a little bit. If he can tighten up, that's exactly what we need. But he needs to become consistent.
No, yeah, you're 100% right, Tim. I mean, we've seen it with Boquist. Like, I thought at first it was just playing with a guy who's struggling in Adam Boquist, but no, it's starting to become kind of consistent where he's just losing his ground. Like, he doesn't. It's not really the recognition of where he's at on the ice. I don't know. I mean, I didn't get to watch him much in Colorado. Like, I didn't watch much Colorado games. I didn't really know exactly what we were getting to besides a big physical D-man who likes to fight and hit.
Which I love. I'm here for it.
Yeah, but like clearly there is some struggles in Nikita Zadorov's game, but hopefully maybe this week he fixes it.
I thought Bodan was looking really good before he went out with COVID protocol.
No, Bodan has. I mean, between him and Boquist this season, I think Bodan's been the better D-man all around.
I agree. I think he's trying to do less. I think he's just sort of, he's up here. He's like, I'm gonna play my game. I'm gonna play smart and not risk too much, but also not try. He's here to make sure. I think Boquist is up here and solidified that he's up here. Bodan was playing like a guy who doesn't want to get taken out.
Oh yeah, you're 100%.
And I really do appreciate that difference in mindset. You're seeing it with Kurashev too, and Hagel, and even Reese Johnson the last game. You're seeing a fire from these guys because any given day they're down on the taxi squad again. They're flipping somebody out.
Yeah,
and that's a cool thing to see.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you nailed it on the head, Tim. I mean, it's kind of nice that we kind of could really get creative with this because we don't have many guys that are going to go through waivers. So, and then, I mean, Tim, you want to just start us off with the game 2 against Nashville then?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we came out of the box a lot better. Frankly, I think that we drove play a little bit more. We were in there. It was a little more balanced in their zone. Lankinen just looked phenomenal, like stupid good. That I'm blown away by that. But again, we'll get to that later. I'll tell you what, the big thing that I think resonated with me with that Predators game, I thought we played a lot better, of course. Obviously, we took it to another overtime, 2 losses, but we got a point in each of those Predators games, which is a big deal. Having the shootout start without Jonathan Toews is such a weird energy that I didn't expect to. I didn't expect it to like have an effect on me. Like, okay, we're doing the shootout. And it was like, I think it was Kubalik that went first. And it's just not the same feeling. Yeah.
I mean, for so many years, it's always been, all right, Toews is 1, Kane's 2.
And then whoever's hot.
Yeah. And then it was
usually it was Sharp back in the day, but
like Sharp, Hossa. It was DeBrincat for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, really, we now we're gonna get into him. Kevin Lankinen, just an absolute animal in the pipes that game. I mean, to quickly draw back, those were 2 goalie points. Like, you get those 2 points off your goalie's play, and that they're just absolutely phenomenal. Strome again almost made the same mistake twice. It was an identical play. I think Nashville drew it up for that reason. And
yeah, I mean, it's a smart thing to try and replicate.
Kane and Strome were at the same positions on the ice, and
he almost did it again.
I don't think it was Yossi. I don't know if it was Yossi again, but it was almost same outcome. Almost like drove the net, rebound was there, and luckily they cleared that out. So, but I didn't like Janmark and going third. I mean, he's been hot though. He's been hot. I gotta give it to him.
You ride that at this point because there was no certified third guy. It could have been Suter, could have maybe been Kurashev. Honestly, could have been Strome, but I think you go with the hot hand. It makes sense, and frankly, the way that. Now, Kurashev, I'll talk about him all day with the Columbus series, but Strome, I don't know if I would put in the shootout just because he's really more of a playmaker. His shooting isn't necessarily up to that same par.
Yeah, it's not really an asset of his for sure. Before we go to Columbus, did you guys have it? I mean, I don't know if Jordan or David, you were
able to catch the games.
I was just able to watch some highlights, and Lankinen,
Love him.
Yeah.
He just, like you guys are saying, poise. Like, he's putting himself in the right positions. He's not flashy. He's just there. He knows where he needs to be. And I think he's going to take over that number 1 spot for the season.
I think he has.
Yeah.
I think as of now, just from, and again, we can talk about Lankinen all day. Malcolm Subban did a phenomenal job in that Nashville game. And I think right now he has solidified that he's the backup.
Yep.
Which I'm curious to see. I know today Delia was in practice getting reps and Lankinen was skating with Jimmy Waite just to give him some time and to get Delia reps. Sooner or later, we're going to have to make a call and put, now right now we don't have to because of the amount of guys out, but we can't carry 3 goalies.
No,
Not on the taxi squad, but in the actual roster all year.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. I think if Delia gets a couple more games, otherwise he's going to have to go through waivers.
So one thing that I kind of noticed, and I finally got to watch some games live for once
sweet.
because I wasn't on crazy overtime this week.
It's always good.
I liked, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. I liked the plays that your defensemen were making until they got trapped in their own zone. I know it's still an experience at, your guys' level because you don't have a lot of veteran players. And I don't want to say it's a mishmash, but it kind of is a mishmash roster for you guys this season.
Oh, it's absolutely a Franken roster because we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 9 guys right now that would be on the regular roster out.
But
it's crazy.
I think it's interesting because like these 2 games in particular, I saw good reads and bad reads from your defensemen, which is kind of interesting. Like you mentioned Zadorov earlier, when he's hitting people like hard, when he's trying to play like good positional shutdown defense, I think he's okay. I think he's a perfectly serviceable middle pair guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating though. I at least for me watching, because like you see some of these players who are making good decisions, who are making good reads, who are making good plays, and then all of a sudden they make a bad pass play. There's an intercept, and then you just reset everything you just worked for.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
We saw one, I think it was during the Nashville games, that Zadorov got stripped, just absolutely just poorly managed the puck, got stripped, and it went in, and that turnover caused a goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same thing the first game when Subban, we were up late. I think it was Connor Murphy tripped and lost it along the boards.
Yeah.
It's just the way it went. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. And those are absolutely growing pains with a team that's finding its chemistry and finding its identity. You're absolutely correct about that. And as any growing pains that we know, this team is going to equal parts, excite us and frustrate us. And that's going to be going on all year. I mean, in this 4-game stint, we got 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really good. Actually, I'll take that for where we're at now, but there's going to be those weird miscues, and it's going to be a lot of hoping for overtime points and 1-goal game losses. And that's a win for us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing that I liked about you guys this week is when you're in the rebuilding phase, I don't want to say you want to root for losses because you never want to root for a team to actively lose. But if you're going to lose, these are the best sort of losses to have. The team is competitive and they're just on the cusp. Like they're right there. So you're showing that your roster is improving, but you're still staying at that level where in the draft, at least, you're going to probably have access to those higher end players that you need to push you over that line.
One thing I will say, I think it's going to be interesting this year. I don't know if because of the lack of scouting and lack of games that are going to be played around the younger leagues, I think anyone in the top 10 has a chance to be the actual best overall pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no consensus number 1.
It's so good depth right there.
Yeah, which is great. And there's also some, some wild card randomization to it too. You could
Like-
get the first overall pick, and in a couple of years, it's going to be so hard to know, like, is this
Mhm.
actually the first pick, or is this just the one that we know the most about?
Like for the longest time, Rati was the top pick, and he's dropped
His
immensely
stock has dropped. Yeah.
on Tankathon especially.
That's one thing. I mean, we can kind of touch on that later as well, because we haven't really talked about that very much this season yet. But just the way that, like, yeah, scouting's going to kind of work for the draft this coming year. We haven't talked about the Columbus games yet,
Yeah.
though. Let's go ahead and move on to those.
Yeah, Tim. I mean, you could Friday. I was working, and it was movie night at the brewery. So
All right.
get
There
to
we go.
much,
Love
but-
movie night at the brewery.
yeah. So I mean, the only thing I can really chime in is Kevin Lankinen. It was another Kevin Lankinen game. What do you make? 40 saves? 41?
Yeah, that actually sounds about right. I want to pull up that stat actually, because that's the kind of thing where you want to give credit to. Honestly, I thought that that was one of the best games that we've played all year. Honestly, I thought it was a phenomenal Columbus game. That was a goalie battle. Korpisalo stood on his head. He was a maniac in that game. Korpisalo made 31 saves and on 32 shots. And then on the Friday game, Lankinen made 25 saves on 27 shots. Still really, really good. The only goal of that night was from Strome. But there's nothing really to be mad about with that game. That was a super tight game. It was literally a goalie battle. There were a couple times that game could have easily been 5-4 on any other side, either side winning. But and again, they have history together, Lankinen and Korpisalo. They played together in the Finnish league, like they know each other. It's one of those storylines that, they've got a little extra something in the game for them. That it was one of the most exciting games to watch. It was never boring. It was back and forth action. Janmark has really been a standout for me.
Yeah.
He's been driving play, which I didn't expect him to do. He's a complimentary piece, but we said before the podcast, he's reminding me a lot of like a poor man's Saad, which we need.
I think he really never got the chance. I mean, this is probably a great season for him. Like, that's why he signed a 1-year deal. It's like, well, I could be a top 6 player there. Like, I could have a shot at the top 6.
Yeah.
And he was always a 4th liner, or 3rd line checking line, and now he's getting a chance to actually showcase what he could do. He's no slouch of a player. He scored 20 goals before, so he's continuing to surge. He's looked great. Again, very surprised by him when we got him. I wasn't excited, but the way he plays and the way he drives offense for this team, where we're lacking, it's good to see. But yeah, I really can't chime in much of that game. I don't want to pull stuff out of my butt. And you got anything else on that one?
Not on, like I said, on that one, it was just a really clean game. Really exciting to watch. High energy, driving lines. It was a goalie duel, and those are always thrilling. The second Columbus game, I loved seeing Kurashev get a chance on the first line. That was a really exciting thing for me to see as a rookie. And again, we've both been pretty high on Kurashev for a while now. This kid who a 4th round pick 2 years ago takes it, 2 years, and all of a sudden he's centering Patrick Kane. That's
what a life.
The chance of a 4th round pick to even make it into the NHL is slim. And the fact that, management said, like, this is what we want you to work on, actually driving possession and getting it up, bringing the puck in, moving a little faster. He said, great, I'll work on that in the Swiss League. He did. He brought it back over. He hit the ground running. He's another one of those guys that is playing every game, but especially that second game in Columbus, to me, he's saying, I belong here, and I'm going to keep working like I belong here. You can take me out, but it's not going to be good for you. I love that.
Yeah, no, he was very noticeable. I think playing with Kane is the best thing that could happen to his development. They're very. I mean, I'm not comparing Kurashev to Patrick Kane here, but they are very similar type players. Like they're creative
Yeah.
offensively, and they both dish the puck. And Kurashev, he's going to get more opportunities to actually score because playing with Patrick Kane, the attention's on him. Like everybody, and this is going to create open space for Kurashev to maybe do one of his nifty little passes or get creative or find an open lane, take a shot, or you can just dish it off to the best hockey player in the world.
Man, watching his goal where Kane shoots it up and it's just going just past the goal and Kurashev's there. He's in the right position. He's in a smart position and he's there for the tip in. That isn't one of those goals like a fluky goal that goes in off somebody's shin or something like that, or it happened to go off my stick. That was deliberate choice, in position, ready to clean up. That takes just as much skill in a lot of ways as some of these slick passes and shots. And going off of being in the right position and reading the play, Suter's goal with Merzlikins where he's reading, okay, unreal. Merzlikins is going over there. He's going to have to swing back this way. I'm going to anticipate that. And he banked it in off of it. Yeah. It was a phenomenal read.
No, that's no fluke goal. I mean, that's all knowing where to be. I mean, you could say, he just threw it off his pads. No, I mean, Korpisalo's backtracking his way to the net. Suter makes an unreal play to regain possession of the puck, and he throws it in off the only way that it would possibly go. Like he's behind the net, so that's the only it's just taking advantage of a really misplayed puck by Merzlikins. Reece Johnson, I liked his game.
Yeah. Man, he was a pest.
reminds me of maybe a little less skillful Brandon Hagel, but they play a very similar game, aggressive on the forecheck. And then one last thing, Janmark with another unreal setup for, I think was it whose goal was it?
Was that Kane's goal?
No, it was Kurashev.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I drew a blank. And then, but the Hawks are missing a right-handed shot in the power. Like they threw it in to show that game. Like playing Kane on the offside, it's just not. He doesn't look comfortable, and you could see him trying to mix sides. Like he'll go behind the net, get on his normal.
We need to brink it. We need to brink it and Boquist back. Like
100%.
At least you have a power play.
Like I understand the heat that people were saying. Like, oh, why isn't Kubalik on the top power play unit? Because there's a system, and at that point you want that right-handed shot and you want that right-handed defenseman. The two of that, you've got Kubalik on the second power play. He's that left-handed shot. It's a different setup. And we can see now having those right-handed shots out, what that does. It swings the whole momentum out of whack. There was a balance to the two power play units, which was really, really dangerous. And it was clearly working. It's the first time I've been excited about our power play since that second half of the year when Gustafsson decided to turn it on.
Hello.
It was good for a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to finish it off with the guy that's been hot, Kevin Lankinen, another stellar game.
Yeah.
32 saves on 33 shots. You can't ask much out of a rookie, undrafted free agent goalie. So
making a name for himself. Making a name for himself.
I'm trying so hard.
And it sucks.
To
I gotta
be
talk
reasonable
more.
And to not get excited. I mean, I'm excited, but not overreact about the fact that it's a long season and lots of goalies get hot for a stretch. Can he navigate the lows? Because there's gonna be bad games. Every goalie in the world has bad games. How does he build from there? The one thing I will say that does keep me very, very excited, even my cautious optimism, is he's always in position.
Yep.
He's smart. He's technical. You hit the nail on the head, Nick. Subban is the more athletic one for sure. Delia's, I would argue, more athletic in a lot of ways than the way that Lankinen plays. But Lankinen, like the great Corey Crawford, reads the situation well, very calm, very poised, doesn't get himself out of position a lot. He doesn't. There was one time in the last game that he came out to play the puck, and he was really out just like skating with that thing. And I was like, I'm so nervous right now because this is something Crow used to do that made me sick to my stomach.
Get the fucking.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Please get back in the goal. I'm begging you.
Yeah, I mean,
Pulling the
mostly-
old Braden Holtby, where he just
Yeah.
skates halfway out and just shoots.
At least he wasn't like Dominik Hasek and skating out and just freaking wrecking a dude.
Well, he would go above and beyond. He'd act like he was another defenseman for a little
He
bit.
was.
Yeah, I mean, just a great end to the week. We got
Yeah.
a win. We're in the win
There you
column.
go.
We took 4 points that week, which is more than I thought we would take. So I'm thrilled. We were also on a 5-game point or 5-game point
Right.
streak after the second game in Nashville. So like we said, little wins this season, and
That's what
we
it's
had
all
a
about.
lot. We had a lot of them. Jordan David, you guys get a
Please.
Oof. Well, Jordan,
wanna-
before you start, I just want to quote a coach, former Cardinals coach, Arizona Cardinals coach, Dennis Green, when speaking about the Chicago Bears. With the Red Wings, they are who we thought they were,
They are who we thought they were.
but we're not letting them off the hook because we know what they were going to be. We knew they weren't going to be as bad as they were last year, but we knew it wasn't going to be pretty.
Yeah.
And I don't remember last week's episode. Did I pick them winning a single game? I don't remember if I did. No, I was right.
I was
You said
saying,
maybe one.
yeah, I think we said one game they could win.
I said maybe one,
Yeah.
but I had a feeling we weren't going to win one. But yeah, Jordan, they are who we thought they were. I'm going to slide it to you for right now.
Oh
All
my
right,
God, that is
so-
such a heartbreaking.
I want to cry for you guys.
All right.
Larkin's
so,
dog was on the ice today, so that was really adorable and made me smile a little.
Little victories. That's a big one.
Little victory.
So
Little Ellie.
the last week for the Wings looked as follows. On the 26th, they played against the Stars. They lost 1-2. On the 28th, they lost to the Stars 3-7. On the 30th, they lost 3-2 to the Panthers. And then on the 31st, they again lost 3-2 to the Panthers. The first loss to the Stars. That game, Detroit could not have executed any more poorly on their power play.
So I had an analogy. I figured out how Blashill does his power plays because the names are always just most random, like Nemestikov and Hronek. Blashill's a fan of Yahtzee, but Blashill, instead of using dice, has little rocks that have player numbers on them, and then he just shakes up his cup and just dumps it and goes, "Okay, you're on the ice, and you're on the ice, and you're on the ice," because it doesn't make frickin' sense.
Makes it hard to predict. Strategy.
Strategy.
But like, as much as we do complain about the blender, I do have to give them credit though. Like, the Wings power play did not click at all this week. I mean, what are they? They're like 4 for 31 or something like that.
Something bad.
I mean,
something
like,
real bad.
it's pretty horrible. And again, credit where it's due. It wasn't working. Blashill at least tried something different. I can respect that out of a coach, but it can't just be the players at this point. It's got to be a systems thing. Like, I don't know if it's just they need to change like the player configurations that they're running for it, if it's the actual setups of like who they're planning to have actually score their goals, because whatever they're doing right now, it's not working.
No, I'm not going to fault the guy for trying. Like, you see coaches that are stuck in their way and they're like, we're going to make this work and we're going to make this work and we're going to push it through, and it doesn't work. You see that with, I watch a lot of soccer. You'll see that with coaches, like this formation they're running. It's not working, but they're going to keep doing it. But I give credit to Blashill, trying to mix things up, but some of the mix up he's doing still don't make sense to me. Like we talked about before the show, I understand putting a forward as a defenseman in a power play, like he's done with Larkin. Like Ovechkin is a master at it. Sergei Fedorov did it. A lot of players have done it. What I didn't really quite comprehend was putting Hronek. Now, we love Hronek. We talk highly about Hronek.
Oh, yeah.
But is Hronek a guy that you're going to put on the wing for a power play? I know Nick was saying you could see a guy like Erik Karlsson or Brett Burns doing it. Those are guys you could see because they are built like a forward, but they play defenseman. Hronek, not so much.
And like, that's kind of the thing. I mean, you just mentioned Toronto. I mean, we can kind of go into that, but Philip Hronek, the problem is like he needs to be on the blue line, being able to just shoot them from
Yep.
from far out and hoping either for a snipe or for a rebound setup.
Yep. He's a quarterback. He shouldn't be that far up.
And the thing is, like, the Wings don't have a lot of other options for a player to do something like that. Like, who are you going to have realistically do that effectively from the Red Wings roster? It's not Stahl. It's not Nemeth.
Moritz
It's
Seider.
maybe once he comes to Detroit. But, like, Detroit doesn't have another player who can actually, like, fill that role and fill it efficiently. So Hronek has to play that role.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly would like to see them roll like a 4-1 setup, and then when they go for the change on their next unit, move it to like a 3-2 setup, 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, like you're playing 5-on-5. I just think that what they're doing right now is not working. And again, maybe it's just like a setup thing where their net front guys aren't timed right. But I would really like to see them even just trying like a double slot setup where you have your 2 defensemen facilitating the blue line. You have your centerman park in the middle, and you're either going to shoot it from the blue line, one of the 2 sides, and just wait for the opening, or you pass to one of the 2 slots because eventually somebody will get it from the slot.
Yeah.
Just to chime in real quick. I mean, like David said, you got to give credit for, Blashill trying to make changes, because isn't like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And Blashill, in this type of season, a rebuilding team, you're going to see what you have. You're going to see what can work, what will work.
Exactly.
I had a question. Does Detroit on their power play, do they utilize, I know a lot of teams, the Hawks really don't, but do they utilize a bumper position on the power play unit?
No, you're talking about like a guy from like the boards who cycles it up to the front and like front of the crease. Is that what you're talking about when you're saying
No,
bumper
like
position? Or
you win the face-off,
right?
and then you have usually it depends on what side, but you have a guy kind of plant like right behind the center, and they just are in a position to fire off a quick shot.
Not really.
It's like you said though, it's hard with a team like Detroit because you don't have maybe Bobby Ryan, maybe he. But like it's usually a bigger guy. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Where was I? My brain fizzled out for a second.
I don't know what the best power play strategy for you guys to run right now is. 4-1 makes the most sense to me, just because you don't have a ton of offensive defensemen right now. If you can load up that top power play and hope for the best, and then switch it out and put some young guys and maybe a defenseman or 2 to like protect that, keep them reliable. But my best guess is you just load up that first power play and hope for the best.
Yep. Like you got to have guys that are great at getting the rebound, like a Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yep.
Tyler Bertuzzi is a gritty player. Anthony Mantha on his day is a guy that can get in there and get it in. And I liked the Dallas games are hard because Dallas is a good team. They're the defending Western Conference champions. And I liked seeing, I remember my thought was now, before every game, the Red Wings Twitter puts like the 3 keys to the game. And the number 1 key to the game was stay out of the box. Because as our power play is hot, stinky garbage, Dallas's power play is freaking ridiculous. And anytime they went in the power play, I'm like, all right, they're going to score. They're definitely going to score here. And we get lucky, but most of the time they score. I mean, the second game, they beat us 7-3.
Yeah.
It was, I had to look away.
That was like a weird, like 3rd period meltdown though for that loss. Like they were actually somewhat in it for the majority of that game. And then the wheels just fell off.
The winged wheel fell off is what you would say. Yes.
Well, in those 2 games, they were missing Jamie Benn, Sagan, and Rube Hintz, I think.
Why you gotta say that?
No, I was just, tossing it out there. I was just curious.
I mean, Denny Gurnoff really stepped up for them, though. He showed up there in the playoffs. I think he's turning into quite a player. I mean, like you said, though, the Dallas Stars, they're defending Western. Like, you can't be like you're expecting to be bottom feeders. Like, I guess I was kind of the same way though. When you want to see your team at least do something successful.
Oh, for sure.
That's how I felt against the Lightning. I know that's how you guys are feeling against the Stars.
Yeah, and like Dallas, like I said, their power play. I think their first game of the season, they had 5 power play goals.
They did. They had
I'm-
5 power play goals their first game.
I saw that and I was like, oh boy. And then our key to the game, don't get in the box. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
I think you just never want to see your team roll over and die.
No,
You
and
you,
they
you just
haven't.
want to see them fight.
And granted, yes, they've been losing mostly every single game. They lost 7-3, but as Jordan said, they were in it for
Yeah.
most of the game.
It,
Like,
it was that third period. You're absolutely correct. I was able to catch a little bit of that, and they just
Mhm.
sort of it just sort of sputtered.
Mhm.
like this team, yes, we're losing, but they're fighting the 60 minutes. Like, what was 60 minutes of hell, as Blashill said last season, and we made fun of that so much because like we look like 60 minutes of hot trash. But this season, you can see they're putting the effort in. They're fighting, except for Mantha, but we're fighting.
I was gonna ask about him, but I'll ask after you get through all your games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Stars games, yes, those are really rough. I like the Panthers games a lot better. Again,
Yeah,
aside
for
from the
sure.
power play, I like those games so much better.
Mhm.
The Panthers. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start saying my Reddit handle now. So, but yeah, like the losses versus the Panthers, these are both 1-goal games. As
Yep.
close as you can really get it in a rebuild without having it be like a win that is putting you farther ahead in standings.
Mhm.
These ones I don't mind. Again, power play not good, but we just touched on that quite a bit. The goaltending looked as good as it's been all season. It's not the reason these teams lost.
Yep.
I don't know
Mantha
what
had
to make of these
goals.
though. Yes, Mantha actually finally started to skate again. I still don't think he looks like top Mantha, but he at least looks like he took the message from Blash and the criticism at least to
Mhm.
stride.
His goal in the first game, I think he drove the net and powered it in, and I'm like, that's Mantha.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
the Mantha
that's him
we
at his
know.
best.
He is a power forward that has good hands.
Mm-hmm. And like that's the thing. Like, I mean, I mentioned it last episode, but when Mantha is on his game and he's trying hard, he's playing the big body and he's forcing plays to happen, he's cash. He's as
Mhm.
about good as anything you're going to get. And he seems like he's taken some of the criticisms that he received to heart. I mean, he had that conversation with like the media where they were asking him, like, what's going on? Why is the start to the season so slow? I don't know if maybe somebody lit a fire under him and said like, hey,
Mhm.
listen, you need to get it together because you're getting almost $6 million a year and you're supposed to be leading this team. So
Yep.
maybe he heard Nick's speech
What I said.
last week.
No, I'm just messing up.
for me,
Motivator.
Mantha, like you're saying, he's cash if he's on his game. Mantha, my hopes for him is he could be like with his size, with his stick handling, with his shot. I would hope he could be an 08 Franzen, like that 08 Cup run Franzen, where Franzen was just unfucking touchable, where he had back-to-back hat trick games against the Stars in the playoffs, and it was just you weren't going to stop him. And I was shocked that Zetterberg won the Conn Smythe over him. Like I knew it was going to be close, but I was like, it's got to go to Franzen. That guy's been carrying this team in the playoffs, but I guess they gave it to Zetterberg for his game-winning goal on Fleury's butt. But if Mantha can get it going, get the keys, ignite his engine, and just start pedal to the metal, I see great things for him. He's just got to get that fire burning.
And that's the thing. It's not like Mantha had they separated him from Larkin, which I actually kind of liked Blashill doing that. Again, credit where it's due. I like that Blashill basically took those two and made them play separately and made Mantha basically produce on his own. I think that's a good confidence thing that Blashill's forcing. I think that in terms of, I don't want to say development because Mantha's still, yes, he's developing, but you kind of have an idea what he's going to be at this point.
Yep.
I think that that's a good decision. I think that it gives the Red Wings a little bit more scoring depth because of the fact that they don't have Fabry, they don't have Zadina, they have two of their defensemen out. I like that Blashill is forcing him to step up and be that presence that we know he can be. And again, I'm glad that he seems to at least taken the discussion that he had with the media to heart and took it in stride and said, yeah, I can be better. I should be better. And he has been better this week. He still
That's what you
isn't
want to
like,
see.
like he's still not like what we saw last season, just complete force and just runs everybody over, but he's starting to look like that guy again.
Yep. If we can get that 40-goal season back from him, poof.
I mean, yeah, you had to figure it's only a mentality thing for him. Like it's not a talent thing. He has all the damn talent
Right.
there is.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be the whole COVID stuff. That's weighing down on a lot of people, like everyday people. It's weighing down on them. Athletes are no different. They're people just like you and me. This could affect them just as much as it affects us.
Well, that is something that we forget. Like, we think about the fact that we're in a giant society shared trauma, but all these, hockey players and sports players in general that are, doing their thing and, entertaining us and whatnot, that's still equally very difficult to be navigating that sort of thing.
Yeah.
God, the people that are able to bring it every night at that high intensity, that's remarkable, because it's hard for me to bring it to work every day with a moderate intensity.
Of course.
What about Givani Smith, guys? I mean, he had a big series against
He's looking
I
Florida.
love
good.
Gino.
Yes.
Gino Smith is so good.
That is gonna, I think, probably be one of the best picks that the Red Wings have made probably in the past 5 years. I mean, yes, you can look at the first rounders like Zadina, Raymond,
Sure.
potentially Rasmussen, Insider, and say, yeah, those are all great picks. But in terms of other picks, I think he is right there. The beautiful pass to Larkin, which resulted in the goal. And it's not even just that, like, great forecheck pressure, great physicality. The fact that we mentioned this about Rasmussen, the best kind of invisible, doesn't look out of place, doesn't look like he doesn't belong. Just he's floating around doing his thing, and it's pretty decent.
Yeah. In order to have a successful team, you need to have a guy with grit, willing to check people and put them in their place and protect your stars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the Darren McCartys, you have the Dallas Drakes, you have all those types of people. I'm not saying he is a McCarty or he is a Drake, but he's a guy that will forecheck you. He will be gritty. He will get in those zones, but he also has the hands to get a nice pass off to Larkin and things like that. I love Givani Smith. I supported him when he was going through the terrible times with the racism and all that crap going against him. And I wanted him to succeed. And I'm happy, so happy to see him wearing the winged wheel. And he hasn't been disappointing. Same with Rasmussen. Like, he's looked good. He's not great. He's invisible, but like you said, the good invisible. I don't think he's made mistakes that have been like, no, he shouldn't be a wing or anything. He looks like he's progressing, and that's what we want. He's still very young.
Yeah, they're both like, what is it, like 21, I think, or 22?
Yeah, I think Rasmussen's 21. I'm not sure about Smith.
I think Giovanni's a little older, 22, 23.
I think
I think
he's a
he's
bit
one of those
older.
late bloomers.
But I mean, regardless, though, I mean, like when you really look at the timeline for these players, they're not really that far removed from what you would expect from a normal player. I mean, Rasmussen,
22.
but like even that, I mean, you look at Rasmussen, right? Rasmussen's 21. When he got drafted, he got forced into the NHL because of contract disputes that were not in his control. They weren't in the Red Wings' control. It was literally the options for Rasmussen were either you go back to play with the Tri-City Americans up in Canada, which was going to do him no favors.
No,
he was
wasn't
out
gonna grow.
muscling everybody. He was beating everybody. Just he needed to go somewhere else for higher competition, and he couldn't go to the Grand Rapids Griffins like he needed to go. So he got forced to the NHL. And a lot of people were like, he doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong here. Well, yeah, because he shouldn't be here.
He should be in that middle ground.
Yeah. It's
He needs to develop more. He's a kid.
He's an 18-year-old kid. Like, he's not the Connor McDavid or like the Leon Draisaitl or Sidney Crosby level players. These kids who just make the instant transition and go. You know, we talked about this before. Every draft you get 2, maybe 3 of those guys tops.
Yep.
And the same thing with Givani Smith. He was a second rounder. I want to say he was a late second rounder. He was pretty close
I
to
had
being
it
a
pulled
third
up.
round
Hold
pick.
on. He was. I had it pulled up just a second ago. Givani Smith.
I want to say he went in like the late 40s. 46th.
46th, yes.
So almost a third rounder at that point. I mean, what we just talked about it. You know, what are the chances of second rounders or then third rounders making the NHL? Almost zero.
I mean, the Wings had a 6th and a 7th that are going to be Hall of Famers. So.
Yeah, but
Yes.
I liked what we saw from these two. It's one of those things where they may not be a superstar. They probably won't be. I don't think Michael Rasmussen is ever going to be a superstar. I don't think Givani Smith is going to be a superstar.
Depth.
But they don't have to be. They have to be depth players, and they're trending that way.
Yeah, you need that depth. I bring this line up all the time because I love this line. Your Draper, your Maltby, your Clearys. You need those players to win cups.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a cup with just a Connor McDavid. You're not going to win a cup with just a Sidney Crosby. You need those support players that will help you out. And your Clearys, your Drapers, your Maltbys, your Holmstroms, those guys are going to get you those cups. They're going to get those goals a game that your stars aren't going to get.
And that's the thing. I mean, Tim and Nick, you guys have noticed this, I'm sure, as well. Like when the Hawks were the dynasty in the early 2010s. I mean, I don't think you win some of those cups unless you have the depth on defense with guys like Nicholas Jarmerson, or if you have just the completely loaded forward group that you guys have, where Andrew Shaw is like a third liner.
In 2013 and 2015, we arguably had the best fourth lines in the league. That 2013 line of Boland, Kruger, and Frolik, I'm sorry, I'll take that. That's arguably one of the best fourth lines in history.
Oh, yeah.
And then in 2015, when it was Kruger, Shaw, and Desjardins, that was a run amok line. They just wreaked havoc across the ice. We don't win those cups. I mean, Boland scored the 17-second goal, that famous, the final one that won us the cup in 13. Our fourth lines could go up against Sidney Crosby. They could go up against any first line in the league with confidence. You don't win cups without that.
No, yeah. I mean, you got to be loaded, or not loaded, but you just got to be deep. That's all it's about,
Yep.
being deep. Like we said, Givani Smith could be like that Andrew Desjardins type player. I mean,
love that.
Antoine Vermette was our third line center in 2015.
Yeah, in 2015. Yeah,
Third
Vermette
line
was there.
Like, look at Tampa, their cup-winning team. That entire team was just depth.
Yeah.
Like, their fourth line could be another team's first line.
That was an offensive team.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really the thing. Like, depth wins you championships. When your team can be missing Steven Stamkos and you still win the cup, that's how you know you have depth in your organization.
Exactly.
I mean, unless you're like LeBron James' first run with the Cavs, where they almost won the championship with literally no one else on the team.
Yeah, but this is hockey.
I was gonna say NBA is a little easier to drive if you've got a premier superstar. Hockey, they're only on the ice. So I mean, look at McDavid and Draisaitl. If they're not on the ice, they don't win.
Yep.
The Wings are definitely on the right path of getting.
Oh, absolutely.
Deep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We have the pieces. They just need to grow. You gotta water them.
Yep.
You gotta nurture them. You gotta love them. You gotta get some good draft picks. Hopefully, well, we already know who the first pick's gonna be. Put my tinfoil hat on. Seattle.
I don't know if the league's going to do that, though. I mean, I feel like that would just be too much on the nose.
Come on. They did it last year with the frickin' bubble draft. They don't care. We're going to drop down to fifth somehow. They'll be like, you know what? Fuck the Wings.
I can't imagine that the league conspired to help the Ottawa Senators, though. They might have done it to screw Detroit, but I cannot imagine them helping the Ottawa. What a waste of a help.
They're like, here you go, Ottawa. We're helping you. And Ottawa just the bricks in their feet. Go, oh, we don't know what happened.
It's like trying to jump a car, but then it shuts your car down because there was a backfire. You can't help Ottawa.
I feel like Ottawa is the Ohio of Canada.
I thought Winnipeg was the Ohio of Canada.
All right, then what is Ottawa? Iowa?
Oh. As someone who lived in Iowa.
I know. Yeah.
I think Ottawa's like the Wisconsin of Canada. Like,
so the happiest place in the Midwest.
Yeah, except
there's no and cheese.
Like it's a happy place, at least for the most part, and the people there just like the people there enjoy it, but a lot of people from the outside look at it and go, I don't understand.
Excuse
That's
me,
a lot of
Wisconsin
cheese.
has the Dells, which
Yeah,
is a true treat.
That's
computer?
not.
They got beer too.
They do have New Glarus. New Glarus is good.
Yeah, they do.
But they
The
don't have a
Dells is
hockey
actually-
team, and that's what we're here to talk about today, folks.
Yeah, why don't they have a hockey team? That's one state that I'm like, why don't they have an NHL team? Like, freaking California has like 3.
Yeah,
Wait.
and none of them made the playoffs last year.
Nope.
That's a
How
fun
can
fact.
California have 3 teams, but a Midwestern state has none?
All right. Well, before we keep talking about this, I'm going to take us on to like the flash forward.
I love it.
So before we do that, though, let's just go ahead and do star of the week this week. Tim and Nick, who are your guys' stars of the week? I have this weird feeling I have an idea who it's going to be.
boys.
Nick, go first.
All right, guys. I mean, you heard me say his name 3,785 times last week. I'm gonna say it again this week because he is just that good. My play of the week, it's got to go to number 32, Kevin Lankinen.
What?
I know.
I'm
guys.
shocked.
Yeah, you guys got to be shocked.
I'm bamboozled.
There's no way you did not see this or did see this coming. Like it's like you would think, wow, he had such a terrible week. Well, let me go through some stats for you for Kevin Lankinen. Last 5 games, he has 7 goals against total. All right, that's okay. He had a .956 save percentage in those last 5.
That's some nice stuff.
Yeah.
I know this is more than this week, but he's 3-1-2 on the season with a 1.97 goals against average and a .937 save percentage. Those are
Can
Vezina-
someone say Vezina?
those are.
I'm saying Vesna. I'm saying Calder.
Yeah,
I'm
guys,
saying
I mean-
Lady Bing. Get them all out there.
The hype is real.
Rocket Richard.
Like I don't want to get too excited because I know like there's got to be some
It's a
kind of,
long year.
but like 3-1-2. He's only lost 1 game in regulation. Those are Vezina type numbers. Like I know. I mean, we can at least talk Calder for now because right now he is playing to another level. He is a top 5 goalie in the league statistically at this point, and just the confidence on this guy just keeps me excited. Like after the second game in Nashville, Colleton said like he's been great. They didn't really like. They're surprised that it's been this easy of a jump for him. And then Kevin Lankinen comes on the mic. He said, "Am I surprised? No."
No.
Like yeah, that reminds me of Bennington before he went on that run. He's like, "Do I look nervous?" And then it's just a straight face. Like Kevin Lankinen is. Boys, I'm excited. Like,
So looking at my
Player.
Yahoo Sports app, he is 8th in goals against average. He is 6th in save percentage on the
Okay.
season. He's somewhere down the list on wins because there's a lot of wins there.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, is there
Um,
8? Is like 8 considering? Is there like a minimum number of games? I think I read minimum of 5. He's a top 5 goalie.
Peter Mrazek has a .99 goals against average,
Oh, okay. Well,
and Marc-Andre Fleury's there at 2nd.
Well, he's
with
on-
1.
like
All-
okay, they're
all
on
I'm
2
saying-
good teams.
Before the season started, they were saying that Shesterkin would be a potential Calder nominee. And if we're looking at the starts to the season, I don't think if we were going to say Shesterkin could be a Calder nominee, I don't see why it's unrealistic to say that Lankinen could be, having wrestled this, first, the number 1 goalie spot and putting up what he's done. If he can be consistent, even if it dips a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't see him having a worse year right now than Shesterkin.
No.
I mean, 5 of his 6 games have resulted in points, like points for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, that's
How many of those games would you say are goalie points? Like 4?
I would say a minimum
5?
of 4. Yeah.
Like he's stealing games. He's stealing points. I mean, I know we're not talking like a playoff team here where we want to get these points matter, but
But I want us to win.
yeah,
It's so hard
winning
to.
is greater than losing. Like, I mean that. I'm sorry, it went on too long. I just love Kevin Lankinen.
No, you're good.
I'm gonna say his name 2 more times. Kevin Lankinen. Kevin Lankinen, player of the week.
He's going to show up
My,
in your room, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Are you telling me that if I say Lankinen's name 3 times in the mirror, he'll show up and let me be part of his book club that he's got? because I'm all in for that.
You guys are reading Nancy Drew this week.
Oh, I love a good mystery. And here's the mystery of who my number one star of the week was. How
Good
do you like those
transition. Good
transitions?
transition.
It's hard to pick one player because there's a lot of guys that I'm very impressed with. It was a very strong team effort with so many guys out on injury, and the way that we played tight and the way that we've been, juggling our lineup. My number one star of the week is Jeremy Colleton. I am going.
Whoa.
Nick might stab you.
I know. I'm looking at him
I'm
right
kidding.
now.
I'm not too mad at him. right now.
I
So
mean,
go
if
ahead.
we really think about it, he's been identifying the hot hand. He's been tweaking his system for the last year. We are finally in a place where the system is working. Everyone, there might be gaffes, but everyone knows their responsibility now. He's clearly working with, when to sit guys, when to bring guys in. He's adjusting, he's tweaking his strategies. And in a year like this, where guys are in, guys are out, and you have no control over losing so many guys, we should have fallen apart in the last couple games. From the minute DeBrincat and Boquist went out, we should have started to crumble. And the fact that he goes, oh, it's okay, we can put so-and-so here because they're really riding the hot hand, bringing Janmark up, up to the first or second line, having Kurashev on the wing, and then saying, you know what? He's been buzzing a little bit, and this is kind of growing stagnant on the second line. Let's put him up there, bring Suter down. He was getting a little crap for changing Suter's position, but then Suter was able to respond with that and get a goal. The management of personnel and even the goalie situation where he's not forcing the awkward 3 goalie rotation. He's letting the hot hand play. He's basically said, I'm going to put Lankinen in. We want to get the other guys in, but we've clearly got to put Lankinen in.
We're being forced not to do so.
Yeah. He's not forcing things. He's not being weird about the line combinations. I give him as a development coach and as a coach during a rebuild in a chaotic time. I think that this week had a lot to do with the coach.
No, yeah, I want to build off that because I was in my notes, and I'm glad you brought up all those points, Tim. Like, I know I laughed. It was just out of a joke.
It's such an outlandish thing to say.
No. I mean, last year I went on a rant. Last season I went on a rant saying Bowman and Colleton were players of the week because of playing with the hearts of Blackhawks fans. But that's for another time. But no, I'm glad you brought up Colleton. I agree. I mean, this team's not good. All right, we know that. Like, on roster, they're not good. Like, they could easily roll over, go out every night, lose 5-1. Be like, all right, well, on to the next one. This team works their ass off each and every night. They're a tough game. When they lose, it's besides the first game against Tampa, it's a battle. Like, they're going out there. They're forward checking. They're back checking. They're doing everything out there. Like, they're not easy wins. The Blackhawks are showing up, playing 60 hard minutes, playing to the final buzz or final horn. And, it's a great game. I mean, we're winning games we shouldn't. We're staying in games that we normally wouldn't as of last year.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, like, the communication's there. I mean, that's why I know I kind of dog on him, but he is a great communicator. There's videos of him, Patrick Kane, like, skating with him as they're walking at the end of practice. Like, the communication's there. This team is showing up to play for Jeremy Colleton. And Tim, I know it was a good pick because I had it in my notes. Like, this team has been working their ass off, and it's a tough fight each and every night. The Hawks are on TV, and I'm I'm glad this is what we're watching this season.
Yeah, right. The team's got a good feeling right now, and a lot of that starts at the top. So, yeah, there's our stars.
All right.
David, the Wings not having a ton of bright spots this past week, but they did have a couple. Who was your bright spot in this week?
So last week I picked good old D-Boss. I thought about him as well again this week, but I decided to switch it up and I went with little Bert, Tyler Bertuzzi. I think Bertuzzi shows his grit on the ice. He puts himself in right positions. He had 2 goals this week. Good goals too. I didn't want to give it to Monte, even though we saw some flashes of improvement, because I'm still mad at him. I mean, he was a -4 in that Dallas game, which is not great. But yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi, I think he's just he keeps showing the Bertuzzi that we know. and he's constantly improving, and he's going to keep scoring. He has 5 goals in the season, so I think he leads the team in goals currently. But I think he's second in points. I think he has 7 points, and Dylan has 8 points, if I remember correctly. So yeah.
I mean, I agree. It's got to be Bertuzzi. I mean, guy works every shift, every game, doesn't coast. He chases the puck constantly, and he just finds ways to make things happen, even when it doesn't look like there's anything there. You can't ask for a better player than that, especially during a rebuild like this when they're on a 1-year contract. And yeah, you might be able to say he's probably trying to work for that next payday, but you know what? He doesn't really need to. Teams got a chance to see him last season. They saw he was good, and they see he's good now.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm at with him.
Yeah. So, flash forward.
Yes,
So let's start with the Wings. It's going to be quick.
This is going to be a quick one because, well, at least I think the first 2 weeks are going to be quick. We'll go to the other ones though. So the first 2 games the Wings are going to be playing this week, they're playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to save everybody here some time. It's going to be losses, both of them. And
of course.
It's gotta be.
And they won't be pretty.
It's not going to be pretty.
That team is just ridiculously good. And we are rebuilding, so we know what's going to happen.
It's like the 2 polar opposite sides of the mountain. And I say this having been there at the start of the season. You've got this peak apex contender and us. And it's cruelty.
You've got LeBron James and this 5-year-old that plays at the park down the street. It's not going to end well for that 5-year-old.
No, he's going to get a knee in the face.
Oh, of course.
That is what both of these games versus Tampa are going to be. Especially because the Wings still don't have Fabry or Zadina to help generate offense.
That's hurting you guys.
And even,
it's so obvious.
And even when we get them back, they're not going to be 100%, especially if they got the Rona. That will run havoc on your breathing abilities.
God,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not going to be a win at all.
No.
I mean, what was the stat? We broke it last year because I think we beat them once last year, didn't we? And it was we went like 20-something games without beating them or something like that.
So I was there when we finally broke the streak.
I remember that.
It was 19. We had lost to Tampa in the regular season 19 straight times. 19 straight times.
Yeah.
I want to say it was close to 5 years running. I think the streak starts back up again. This is not going to be a W.
Get it going. Get it going.
I mean, Tim or Nick, unless you guys think that the Tampa games are going other ways.
I already could. No, no, they're going to brutalize you.
If we beat Tampa, I'm going to be all over it like Nick is Mitch Trubisky when he throws a pass.
Oh,
like Super Bowl. We're going, baby.
That's a low blow. I'm still not over him being gone. No, I mean, I learned my lesson last week being confident in the Red Wings. I'm not going to. Like I said about Jeff Blashill, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Not going to this week. Yeah, they're going to get smoked by Tampa.
Yeah.
There's 3 things you don't do. 1, if the lady in your life says it's fine, you don't believe it. 2, you don't bet on Mr. T against Rocky Balboa. You don't do it. And 3, you don't bet on this Red Wings team against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yet.
This is off topic, but sports betting is legal in Michigan. I kind of want to just put like a $20 joke bet down and see if I make anything.
I gotta know the odds of that. What are the odds of that?
Money line? Oh, I'll pull it up right now if you guys want to stall time.
Time.
We'll do it while we're talking about the Tampa
stocks. I like stocks.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, I'll pull up the spread while you're talking about the next.
I do have 11 shares in Disney, so I am technically an owner of Disney.
The Wings are gonna stay with the Florida theme this week though, and then they are playing 2 more games against the Panthers.
One of them is technically after the next week's episode, but we'll
Is
count
it?
it. Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah,
we'll
it is a
count it.
Tuesday. Dang it!
It's a loss. It's a loss. Okay. I'll say it's a loss on Monday next week too.
I hope that they keep these ones with the Panthers close like they did this last week, though. I want to see them continue to at least hang in games. We know that they're not beating these Stanley Cup caliber teams. We know that they're not beating these rosters that are just, they finished their rebuilds and they're at the top of the mountain. But even just seeing close losses to like these fringe playoff teams that they're not terrible, but they're not great. I want us to see close games here, and I'm hoping they do that with the Florida Panthers.
There's hope. It gives you hope.
Yes.
It's the hope that kills you, though.
But it's not
Tim's
unrealistic
like,
hope.
oh no.
Like the Wings could steal one of these games versus the Panthers.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
if
the Panthers aren't an unbeatable team.
Mm-mm.
They're a
possible.
good team, but any given night, you guys can turn it on.
I mean, even you guys beat them.
Yeah. Wait, did we?
Did you? No.
I don't think we did.
No, I'm wrong.
We lost in overtime.
Yeah, we got a
Hey.
point out of them, which you
guys-
guys could do.
Update: there is no puck line yet for that, but if I had to guess, usually hockey games are 1.5. Is the
Mhm.
spread usually? Oh God, against the Lightning, I'm going to say it's at least 2.5, 3, 2.5, 3.
That sounds about right from what I've seen in comparisons.
Yeah, I think
There you
2.5
go.
probably
There you
is
go.
your best bet.
So yeah, I'm saying the 4 L's. You know,
Four
loss,
Ls.
loss, loss, loss.
I do think that they'll keep the ones against the Panthers fairly close. So I don't think those are going to be blowout games like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I
ones
think
will.
Tampa's going to be like 5-1, 5-2 maybe.
Mhm.
Well,
I expect those blowouts.
are you guys getting Earn and Fabry back
Probably not.
for the Florida games? It's been about 10 days, right?
Florida maybe.
I
Tampa.
think we might get
probably
them
not.
back for the Florida games. I don't think we're getting them back for the Tampa ones though.
But like I said before you came in, even if we get them back, if they had the Rona, they're not going to be 100%.
Here's my optimism. Wings are gonna win at least one game this week. They're gonna beat the. I mean, it was 3-2 losses last weekend against Florida. I think one of those games is a big turnaround if you get Earn, Fabry, the GOAT Sam Gagner back. I think it's doable. 3-2. It's a close game. It's a tough
Is
battle.
Sam Gagner even alive? Like, I haven't even seen him on the taxi squad.
He's just chilling right now in his basement, waiting to see when the Hawks are next on the schedule.
Yeah, he's biding his time. I'll give
He's
you
just
guys.
lifting weights the entire
I'll give you guys
time.
a point. I think that you take one of the Florida games to overtime.
Okay. Give us a point.
And the theme of the podcast lives on: mini wins.
Yep.
If
Mini
the little
bagels,
wins.
mini pizzas, mini wins. All
In
my
the words
favorite
of Bob
things.
Ross, you got to paint the little trees.
And then the Blackhawks, you guys have an interesting schedule this coming week. You guys play the Carolina Hurricanes twice, and then you
Okay.
play the Dallas Stars once before the actual episode is going to get recorded next week.
I ain't scared of Dallas.
Hey, word of advice. Word of advice against Dallas: don't get in the box.
Oh, we're not good at that.
Oh yeah.
We've been taking a lot of dumb penalties this year.
You're gonna die.
Lots of penalties. For Carolina, I just think Carolina is one of the best teams in the league all around, both defensively and offensively. And I mean, their goaltending is the thing Mrazek's playing great this year, though.
But isn't Mrazek hurt? I thought he's going to be potentially
he?
having surgery.
Oh,
Is
well, if
he?
that's the case. You know what? As for
Throw that little wrench in the plan, eh?
I just think they're deep. Carolina's deep. We talked about depth earlier in the show. I don't know if we. I don't know. I think maybe we steal a point. We take a point against Carolina.
It says Mrazek's injury will keep him out longer than expected. This was today.
Okay.
There we
All right.
go.
So yeah. All right. I'll take a point. We'll get a point against Carolina.
I'm taking a game and an overtime.
So 3 points.
Yep, I'm saying 3 points in the Carolina series. Carolina is a phenomenal team, and they play tight. They play as a unit. They've got some of the best chemistry in the league, in my personal opinion. But we're buzzing right now. I think that we're fighting. I I don't see a reason why we can't beat Carolina, especially if Lankinen stands on his head. I say we go for it. I think we're
He
taking
shouldn't
3
do
points
that.
in that series.
He shouldn't do that with all those pads on. That will make the blood rush to his head faster, and he might pass out. Don't do that.
Oh,
Hell no, it's-
you are riding the red wave for the Blackhawks.
I
right
am.
now.
I'm ready.
I don't know.
We're going to the playoffs, baby.
Oh, okay. All right, come on. We already got heartbroken once during the football season. Let's just keep our expectations
I mean,
low. and be
Trubisky
surprised.
MVP.
I'm a
Dude,
Bulls fan too. I keep
stop
thinking every
hurting
game.
me.
I'm saying this is it. We're doing it.
I'm still hurt right now.
I
David.
just want to see a picture of you in the mirror with the words "pain" ghosted over you.
Oh man, what am I in high school again?
Yeah. So,
Without love, pain.
what about you guys? What do you think of Carolina?
I'm gonna shut down your optimism. I don't see it.
I only said
That's
a
fair.
point. That's not too optimistic.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be nice. I'll say a point too.
Thanks.
Why
I'll take
not?
it.
I hurt Nick earlier with the Trubisky comments. I'll give you a point.
Every time you say his name, my heart breaks a little bit.
Is he gone though? Like, is
in
his
the
contract
spirit.
over?
His contract's over, but I don't want to get into that. I'll cry.
Hey, it's
Could've
okay. We're
had
gonna trade for
Mahomes.
Deshaun Watson.
I don't think you have the pieces for it. I think the
We
Jets are
don't.
gonna go for it.
It's such a high ask.
The
You
Jets
should-
are gonna do it.
Are you shooting down the Carolina Hurricanes, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm shooting down the Canes.
This is fair.
Fuck.
I get it.
Well, we were excited for a second.
Thought you're excited with us, you know. Thought you were gonna be on
Nick,
board.
what are we gonna do with Dallas?
Oh, God.
Don't go in the box. Step
Yeah.
one.
All right. So this is all with an asterisk or suffix it with. If we stay out of the box, we may be able to take a game.
In the-
Maybe. But
in
that's
the-
the thing. We can't stay out of the goddamn box.
In the words of Jim
Sinbin.
Carrey from Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Like
That's
if
what I
we-
hear in my head.
If we could stay out of the box, we might be able to win a game. One game, not both. No way. But our PK just struggles to do the little things like clearing the puck out of the zone or stopping one guy by himself, screening either Lankinen or Subban or whoever's going to play goalie.
Yep.
So that's what scares me. If Dallas's power play, which is buzzing on all cylinders right now, if they get on the power play 2-3 times, they might be able to score all 3 times. Like that's what scares me. So if we stay out of the box, we win one game. If not, we're screwed.
I don't see us staying out of the box, and so I'm gonna say we get 1 point in the two. So 4 points total in these 8 games. But I think we take 1 point in the Dallas series. I still don't think Dallas is good.
Jesus, what do they have to do?
Win the
We're
Stanley
down
Cup
5
at this
power
point.
plays, and you're like, they're not that good.
They're
Yeah,
fine.
they're not that good.
I'd take Carolina over them personally.
God. I mean,
So
but we also have all these. Like, I know we talked about this team grinding through their COVID battles.
Yeah.
A team like Dallas, though, you need to score a lot.
Yeah. No, it's going to be, especially with Khudobin and goal. Like, no, realistically, I don't see us taking more than 1 point from this
Yeah.
series. They're going to outshoot us. They're going to outscore us. All I can hope is that we keep it close.
Don't kill us.
so I could make another, Mitch joke, but I'm still in pain from Stafford leaving us. But yeah, you guys get nothing, and you have to deal with it.
That's
You're not
fine.
gonna get a single point.
That's fine.
Yeah,
We
it's going to be a learning experience.
Jordan, you want to, shit down our dreams again?
Listen, I don't have fun shooting down your dreams. I am a pessimist realist. That's what I am. I am a pessimist realist. I think-
he's that dad where you're like, no, you're not going to amount to anything.
No, son, you're not going to make the baseball team. You suck.
Have you thought about being an accountant?
Jordan, finish your thought, man.
Yeah.
I think Dallas is going to go on a feeding frenzy.
I hate it.
Their power play has looked just dangerous, and the Hawks, I think once they let in 1 or 2, it's going to be a meltdown. Players are going to get frustrated, and it's going to lead to more mistakes, and there's going to be more people taking advantage of those mistakes.
Someone's going to cry.
in the way that the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to feed on the Detroit Red Wings, so the Dallas Stars are going to feed on the Chicago Blackhawks.
Agreed.
You
That's
know,
fair.
you might as well just say, "Hey, Delia, you wanted to get some reps. We're gonna
Here
put
you
you in
go.
against Dallas.
Time
We
to
put you in
die.
against Tampa Bay. Now we're gonna do Dallas too."
Yeah, here you
What
go,
have I
man.
done to wrong you? Did he just make out with Colleton's wife? Is that why he's getting all these crappy starts against these ridiculous teams?
You know what? Maybe he's the most experienced, I guess, of all of them. So
I mean,
I'm not going to be totally dark this week, though. You know what? This is what I want to see from Colleton. I want to see him rest Lankinen for the Carolina games, and then I want to see him versus Dallas. And the reason why is because I think Dallas will be a real test about what he looks like as a goaltender against top tier competition.
and how he handles letting in a couple of goals, and
Yes.
see if he falls apart or
Yeah.
if he's able to stay composed. Because we haven't seen him. That first game, he let in 5 goals. Other than that, he hasn't. And I'm curious to see how he holds that composure and that coolness that we've seen under that kind of pressure.
yeah, we haven't seen him struggle. So that's going to be a test. Yeah, I think it's a good situation. It's like, hey, here's a learning experience. It's going to be a tough team. You know, they may score a lot on you. This is not on you. This is just what I want to see.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So we have the mailbag.
Oh, we still got some.
Oh, do we?
We got DeAngelo and
Oh, that's part of the mailbag.
Yeah,
that's part of the mailbag.
Yeah.
It's all part of the mail.
But
We
we
have
got-
one piece of news to talk about really quick that has to do with the Hawks and I guess the Wings,
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of. So the Chicago Blackhawks picked up Madison Bowie this week, and so David, I'm sure you probably share my sentiment. This is not a fantastic pickup for Chicago.
No, I like the kid, but he's not going to shock you.
He's not overhauling your decor. He's not turning you into a playoff caliber team. This is a bottom 4 defenseman, and that's about what you're going to get. I think realistically, he's there so that you can expose him to Seattle. I really think that's what this is for.
That's all it was. It was a chess piece move for Stan Bowman. You know, sign Bowie. It's a 2-year deal, but that's just to make it. I mean, that's just to make him more expendable, I guess. It's
so that we can expose him.
Yeah, intriguing. And all he has to do is play one game, whether it's from the taxi squad. He just needs to play one game on the Blackhawks this year. And I think, you know, they're just going to throw him in a random game. Like, we're not going to see a big sample size of Madison Bowie. This is just so we could protect a guy like Connor Murphy now.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm going to give Stan credit. You know, I mean, and maybe it's easier said than it's just easy. It's an easy move for him, but recognize the situation, got out of the head early. Be like, you know, we love what we see in Murphy. He might be a part of this plan going forward. And if that's the case, we're going to hold on to him and we'll expose this guy we randomly signed off the streets.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that it's also going to help put another physical presence in Rockford since Sealer is terminated. It basically replaces Nick Sealer in Rockford. That's fine. I can't imagine there was any other reason to sign him except for expansion draft and Rockford.
Nothing.
Hope the best to him.
Nothing too deep to look into, but just it's big for a guy like Connor Murphy or, you know, Calvin DeHaan, whoever.
Right. Says that we're interested in protecting them.
Yeah. So just, you know, we'll see, I guess, going forward. That's still a little bit down the road, but right now we have the chance to protect DeHaan or Murphy with that signing. So really, that's all there is to it.
Okay.
David, take us to the mailbag because we have mail this week again.
So I'm going to start off. It's from our, good buddy, Holy Moly, What a Goalie. And out of nowhere today on a Detroit Lions meme about losing Stafford, where I wrote, I hate everything, because I do hate everything. I miss him. I got a hug award. And his message starts off like so. Yes, a hug would be nice, with only a little booty cup, just enough to be tasteful, but not trashy.
Seductive.
Like enough to know I'm into it, but not enough that I'm begging. You got to work for it a bit more. Know what I'm saying? And then he dives in. Anyway, onto hockey. As you know,
Glad that wasn't
Tony-
only it.
part of me wishes it was because now I want this hug. This is a hug that sounds just perfect.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
As you know, Tony DeAngelo cleared waivers, so that means no team wanted that D-bag. But if you were the GM of your team, what would be the least that the GM of the Rangers would have to give up for you to play DeAngelo for the entire year, no matter the locker room cancer that he is? For the Red Wings, I think that we should get Capo Caco plus a first and a second would do it for me. So I just want to start with, I like his idea, but there's no deal coming to the table unless I don't get a pack of big red chewing gum on that deal. So
It's
I'll
fair.
take that deal, but you need to add that big red chewing gum, GM. Okay, no deal.
Man, that's so hard because this guy is every single thing that hockey is moving so hard to move away from and to
Mhm.
it's that privilege. D'Angelo is awful. What would it be? What would they need to give up? That
For you
I-
to take that piece of human garbage.
I would want Artemi Panarin half salary retained, or as much salary retained as he humanly can. Let's add in Ryan Strome and a first, just for funsies. Bring the Strome brothers back together
There you go.
to play that monster.
Oof. Jordan, you could go. I'm still thinking of mine.
I want the Thomas Tatar deal. I want a first, a second, and a third, and I want them in back-to-back years. You don't put something like this into your locker room. It's
No.
just
He's an asshole.
He's a
Like-
terrible, terrible person.
it's not even that though. It's you don't put cancers into your locker room unless they're going to be super effective, and even at that point, you don't do that, especially in a rebuilding group that is a ton of young talent that you're at some point hoping to re-sign. You don't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
No.
He's absolutely toxic. Both of our teams are rebuilding teams that are identifying their identity and their chemistry, and they're waging the old core and the new core. This is the kind of person that completely upends and disrupts all of
Progress.
it. Yeah, it's the complete antithesis of progress. And you're right. Not only is he a locker room cancer and an absolutely toxic human being, he's also, his stats are really poor this year, and he's a
Yeah.
loose cannon. The amount of abusive officials and like unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that he's gotten over the years, like even being benched in games this year because of unsportsmanlike conduct. If you take everything on his off ice conduct, which is awful and documented and terrible, his on ice conduct is just as bad this year.
Oh yeah, he's a scum of the earth human being. I mean,
Yeah.
that's me putting it nicely too.
That's
We're
very
a family
nicely.
friendly podcast.
Yeah, like that's me. He's just a terrible human. Like I between him and Babcock, if I had, I'll take the office meeting. If Babcock, Tony DeAngelo, and who's
Slava Voyov or whatever his
Voinov,
name was.
I mean, Slava Voinov looks like he should win a Nobel Peace Prize compared to no, Babcock should. But anyway, sorry. No, but what all that? Yeah, Tony DeAngelo is a terrible person. Just to give a quick rundown before I even think about what I'm gonna have, because I'm just basically wondering what I could get. He's one of these guys who's on social media who would openly use racial slurs. Just terrible guy.
Just not even
Anti-Semitic
hiding it.
too.
Yeah,
Assault-
very anti-Semitic, very
Very,
homophobic.
yeah, just like against like the LGBTQ community. Again, anti-Semitic as well, racial slurs.
Blatantly racist.
Yeah, and like his dad's the same person. Like he said, I use those. Like there's an interview way back in the day. He said I use those slurs just as much as he does, and he says he like targets guys on the ice based off their ethnicity.
He should never have gotten to where he was. Which, what was the kid? Something.
The Arizona kid.
Yeah, the Arizona kid. I don't even remember his name anymore. But the fact that he's been cut already shows how far hockey has come.
Yeah.
Because no matter what his skill set and the fact that he was passed over so much, at least we've done that. DeAngelo should never have made it to this point. But as in all sports and as in all things, really, we as a society are still too forgiving of people with talent.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And it's good to see team like what's Rangers GM name?
Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon. He came out and said
the NASCAR driver.
He came out and said today he's never going to be in a Rangers uniform again. Apparently the rumor was last night him and Georgiev, the goalie of the New York Rangers, had a disagreement after the overtime loss against
some sort of altercation. And
he got in his face going down the tunnel, and Chris Kreider just clocked him. He clocked him. So rightfully deserved for this awful human. Hopefully the game kind of dwindles away from him, and
hope he's done.
Really, no team gives him a chance. With that all being said, I'd want Keandre Miller.
Yeah.
I want Keandre Miller. That'd be nice for a Hawks, and sprinkle in some first and second rounders because I don't want him anywhere near my roster.
Yep. There you go.
Good.
Thank you. Holy moly, what a goalie, as always. I hope you can keep coming up with questions like this because I hope you're not just pacing on a Monday morning like, what the hell do I even ask them this time?
They're expecting greatness.
And thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You have given us greatness.
Holy moly.
What a goalie.
Well, I think that's pretty much going to be it for this show tonight. As always, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning into this edition of the Stick Blade Podcast. At the end of the day, this is a podcast. It's by fans for fans. This isn't corporate sponsored or anything like that. This is literally, it's us talking about the teams that we love for you guys to enjoy. You get all the hot takes, all the personal feelings.
I'm sponsored by Blockbuster, so.
Guys,
if somebody wants to give us like some stocks, we would appreciate that.
I just got to keep track of my AMC. I'm going to get lost.
I just want Super Bowl picks, guys. I'm trying to make money different ways.
Chiefs.
The old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Screw Tom Brady. Chiefs.
All day long.
All right, sorry.
But again, really thank you guys for listening. This is it's a podcast that is by fans for fans. It is for you all. It is for your enjoyment. We have fun doing it, and we should enjoy that you guys enjoy listening to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All of our armchair GM takes, all of our completely irrational, sometimes hope and disdain for the teams.
France.
Just all the fun that we have. We enjoy that you guys enjoy it with us. If you ever want to get in contact with the show, there are ample ways to do that. I mean, I think we're on like 5 different platforms now. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on SoundCloud. We're on Apple Podcasts. You can get a hold of us
Bumble.
on Twitter. You can get a hold of us via email. I mean, whatever your social media or method of consumption is for podcast content, we're on it. If you want to find us on Twitter, the Twitter handle is @StickBladePod. I'm trying to keep it together here.
We're doing great, folks.
Hey, girls, you like podcasts? You like hockey? Swipe left.
Wait, no, swipe right. Swipe right.
Sorry, swipe right. I don't.
I'm sorry.
You fool! You've doomed us all.
I'm not out of that. I was never in that game.
Take us home, country roads, please.
I'm muting my mic so I don't interrupt.
But there are so many ways to get into contact with us, so please feel free to give us a like, a follow, a favorite, whatever the social media currency is of the platform that you like. We're on there. We're pretty much responsive to any messages that we get, and at the end of the day, it provides good content for us and for you guys to engage with us. So feel free to do that. And in the meantime and in between time, again, thank you all for tuning in. For your host, Jordan Scott, and for my co-hosts, Tim Stompanato, David Barnhouse, and Nick LePage. This has been another edition of the Stick Blade Podcast.